due diligence is done, the money is finally on the bank account. So what should a startup expect next? Is there a board meeting? What do you talk about? I remember you said we need to have a board meeting. I'm like, what are we going to talk about? We just spent like 4 months talking about absolutely everything there is. What else are we going to talk about the board meeting? So is that first board meeting? What's that first board meeting about? Like, is that something that you like to have, or what's the story there?
Okay, so money in the bank. First, celebrate. Yeah, you did it.
Okay.
Got money in the bank. Great. I think from our perspective, there may be things that came up during due diligence, which we want to follow up on. But also, I think as perhaps this is the first institutional round, maybe you didn't have a board before this. This is the first time you are now constituting a board and getting into a more sort of formal process of understanding what you need to present at the board level. This also sets you up for the next fundraise and inviting more people into the board. Perhaps we need to think about an advisory or a technical board. So all of those things are discussions that you will have starting at this first board. So I think in the case of Treble, since they didn't have a board before, now it was investment, we shared some best practices, a template of what's expected, how to think about sharing the information as well with your investors. So what we are curious to hear about is, you've told us this, amazing story of how you're going to be building this billion-dollar business. We're on day one. We're on day zero now. How are you going to go about doing this, but in a very staged manner? From now to the next board meeting, what do you want to accomplish? And then subsequently, on every subsequent board meeting, what's working well, what's not working well? Are there areas that the board, wider NAUTA, could help with? Is there something that is blocking you? Are there issues that we should be discussing as a board? And this has to do with, there are various different things, like I said, within the...
No, like I said, it was a really nice, pleasant first board. I just wasn't sure. Are we talking about the things that happened or the future, et cetera, et cetera? So
both.
I know, yeah. And I do like a lot of I hear founders like, oh, we don't have a board, it's just more work. I also feel like there should be a board. That's like my preference was to have a board, because then it just gives you more, I guess, not only credibility, but also it makes you think, like you said, rather differently. So I can't call you one day and tell you, hey, we're probably going to be at like 1 million ARR by the end of the year. And then, you call me at the end of the year, are you at 1 million? And I say no. And then, we're basically screwed.
So there's a disconnect there. So I think that's probably sort of the right way to think about it. And also being there as you're going through it, so that we see this play out in our entire portfolio. So I'm on a number of other boards. So the experience that we're bringing into it is being able to guide in areas and anticipate what's coming around the corner. And hopefully the founders take that advice.
Yeah.
And it's helpful.
I 100% agree. Like, we've had so many interesting conversations. You guys have predicted many things that came to life and to fruition, and I think we're a better company because of the board. Like, there's no way around that. So if you don't have a board, consider having a board.